What's up, Facebook?
Hello, everyone. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in to episode 65 of the Bourbon and BS podcast. We greatly appreciate you tuning in tonight. We just had a small rain shower and it cooled things off. For those that are in Ohio knows that we got up to 80 degrees today, which was pretty...
Yeah, just over 80. It's crazy.
Yeah, so finally we're into warmer weather. Thank you. Anyways, so... if this is your first time tuning in, we talk about a whiskey, we talk about a cigar, and we also have a life topic, but we'll get into that a little later. But we normally start the live feed before we start our audio. And tell us what you're drinking. Tell us if you're sitting outside, if you're enjoying a nice cigar, if you're enjoying a nice pour, wherever you are, tell us what you're doing. And we've really enjoyed lately the conversation between all of you, and we appreciate everyone as part of our community. So as that being said, please share it. This is how we grow this thing, and we appreciate everyone that shares it every week, and we hope that the shares don't bug your family members with whiskey and cigars.
Don't say that.
Well, I mean,
I hope it bugs them in a good way.
Like, makes them question what they're doing?
Man, no doubts. Jeez. They should thank you.
Okay, I got you.
You like start the show with this, like, I don't know, like, share it proudly, right?
Yeah, sure.
Just the level of like confidence is just overwhelming.
I know, I'm glad.
Overwhelming. Yeah, I say we get started. We're drinking. Did you say what we're drinking?
No, I haven't started that yet, because if I say it twice, then
It's a weak cork pop.
I don't want to say it
Did we
twice.
loosen that? Oh, that sucks.
I haven't touched it.
That was a weak cork pop.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We're gonna probably have to. I'm gonna take this medallion off.
No, keep it.
All right, cool. Whatever.
All right, you ready to get going?
Yep. It's not gonna be a good clink.
All right. Again, the confidence.
No, that's a fact, because when I have a full glass,
Find
I
out.
can't. All right.
I'll find out.
Yep. Happy Whiskey Wednesday, everyone.
And you thought it wasn't going to be good.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't know if it's where I hit it or...
do it with authority. That was good. It's really good.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's not. All right. I'm
Thank
like,
you,
no.
thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm Jake Sanders along with Steve Crane, and we make up the Bourbon and BS podcast. We're on episode 65, and we appreciate everyone that has supported us and will continue supporting us thus far and into the future. So we thank you very much. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, we talk about whiskey, we talk about cigars, we talk about the pairing, if there is one, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. And then our biggest point of our entire existence is the fact that we talk about life. We talk about a life topic, we talk about each other's lives, and we talk about issues that we don't think that most people are talking about, especially live with cigars and whiskey. So we thank you for tuning in.
I feel like the topic tonight, though, as I was typing it for the Facebook Live video and everything else, the good until the last drop, it's like it sounds like our farewell show. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's going to end with, like, credits and...
Now let's see it being
just like
negative.
slow. No, it's not negative. It's just
It's just doubting.
It's not doubting. I'm thinking like a killer last episode. You know what I mean? Not this one, but someday it'll be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a series that goes off the television or something like that you just don't want it in.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want it to end. And like, anyone seen Avengers?
Not the new one.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. You're just like, it's kind of never going to be the same again. But it was awesome. That's what if we ever have a...
Who died?
Don't ruin it.
Jeez, yeah.
I really have not seen it. Oh, did I guess something? Did I hit
No.
a nerve with geeks out there around the world?
Wow.
And
our viewers are going down. I don't know what's going on here.
Actually, I think they just went.
No, coming down.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be drinking Have a Shot of Whiskey. Yes, that is the actual name of the bottle. And
Have a Shot of Freedom.
I'm sorry. Have a Shot of Freedom. Yes, you're exactly right. That's the actual name of the company, though.
Have a Shot of Freedom Whiskey Company.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know if they have any other. You're maybe going to tell me, but this one's got a sweet eagle on the front.
Yeah.
Owned by veterans. It says cool label.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they have any other spirits.
We'll get into that a little more here shortly. But what are we smoking, Steve?
We are smoking the Camacho Corojo Box Press Toro. So this is a old blend. Supposedly got a little bit of revamping done when they sold out, as far as when Camacho was acquired by Davidoff. And we can get into that as well. And then this box press is slightly different than the regular Corojo.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there.
Interesting.
And like I said, we're going to talk about good into the last drop. So there's be a shit ton of metaphors probably tonight with that one.
Yeah, sure.
Who is this guy tonight? I want to thank our sponsors, Altadis USA. Big news with Altadis this week. So for those of you that are in the cigar industry, or into that part of this show, they actually the parent company that owns Altadis USA.
See, I didn't know that. I thought Altadis was like the mecca, and I didn't realize there was a step above them.
Imperial owns Altadis USA. They're based out of the UK.
Holy crap!
And they also own about half of Habanos SA. As well as like if you see Cool Cigarettes, I think Backwoods, it's a multi-billion-dollar organization. So they're looking to sell, get out of the premium cigar industry. Imperial is so business as usual with Josh and Paul, the guys from Altadis, and we thank them for being a sponsor. Make great cigars tonight. Their cigar that we're going to be smoking a little bit later on is going to be the Monte Cristo White Series. Rothschild, which we've smoked before. It's always a good one. Yeah.
No, it is good.
And then also Tinderbox at Easton for the first cigar.
Yeah.
Camacho Corojo. And then also BS Cigar Company, which we have the golds back in stock.
Thank you.
Smoking fairly well. We're happy with
Thank
this
you.
batch. So if you guys need any, go ahead, stop by, or we can always send some to you if you want to order over the phone.
Yeah. One thing we haven't mentioned lately is, I think I was kind of out of the camera there, but anyways. One thing that we haven't mentioned lately was the fact that whatever cigar that we're smoking for that week, don't forget that for the next week, it's 15% off on that cigar if you come in the Tinderbox.
Yeah, we couldn't do that last week because that cigar isn't going to be in the shop until September or October. But normally, including this one, the Camacho, mention the podcast, 15% off. You can come in the shop, or again, we can mail it to you if you guys want to call in and get like a 5-pack, 10-pack, or whatever of Camacho Corojo.
Yeah. I'll just say it's nice to have, it's just the two of us, really. I don't think we've done it for probably 20 episodes now. Mm-hmm. But it's cool.
Well, and we posted that Beyond the BS.
I know.
So we had the video last Monday. I think we do it maybe 1 or 2 times a month. I think we should do that.
Yeah.
So you guys give us feedback if you guys checked it out either on Facebook or we had the audio get dropped last night. So let us know what you think about that. I've had some feedback so far, and it was good.
Was it good feedback?
It was good. It was actually, because it was a little bit more of a Q&A type thing, it was more, there wasn't much structure or, cigar or whiskey we were going over.
Yeah.
It was a pleasant podcast was one of the comments I got.
Okay.
So that's good. I think that's good. It's just kind of like something, it's an hour long, they just kind of cruising down the road, and they were just listening to it, just kind of hanging out. So I think that was good.
Yeah. So thank you everyone that has given their feedback on that, and you should go listen to it, really.
Yeah, I did want to mention one more thing. We both work at the Tinderbox at Easton. For those of you who don't know, it's Columbus, Ohio. And starting today, if you buy Monte Cristo cigars, so we've got one of them on the table here, the Monte Cristo White, that's included. If you buy 4 Monte Cristo cigars, you're going to get 1 free and get a raffle ticket. If you buy, you get 1 raffle ticket. If you buy 10 cigars, you get 3 free cigars and 5 raffle tickets.
Yes.
And if you buy 20 Monte Cristo cigars, you get, what was it?
It was like...
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. You get more free cigars, and then you also get more raffle tickets. The raffle tickets are going to go for main prizes, as well as the grand prize, which is a cigar coolador So if you guys are in the Columbus area, you don't have to be present on May 31st, but we're going to have a Friday night hangout and raffle. To win the Coolador, you do not have to be present. To win any of the other prizes, though, you do have to be present. So we're going to have specials on some cocktails like Old Fashions and Manhattans. There'll be specials on those.
Very nice.
At Fado, which is our neighbor Fado Irish Pub and Restaurant. And then we're also going to be, having happy hour food, like appetizers and stuff like that. But and up until that day, even that night, buy 4 Monte Cristos, get 1 free, and so on. So it'll be great.
I think that's a great deal for people that are looking to try different stuff, especially with Monte Cristo, and also you get a chance to win an awesome prize.
Yeah.
So, but come out, see us. Thank you. We want to get into whiskey now?
Have you taken a sip of this yet?
Yeah, I have.
Shit. All right, I'll do mine. Dustin, you need some? Or you're going to finish the glass?
Both.
Come grab some.
You already killed the glass?
There you go.
No, I had some before.
No, he had some of that ancient age. Yeah, which is good. But, no.
Go ahead, talk about it. I just took a sip. I kind of want to talk about it, but...
All right, good talk about it.
Get in.
So,
tell us about this, Jake.
Have a Shot of Freedom is what the actual company's name is, and it's pretty cool. The bottle's got an awesome eagle on it. It's obviously freedom is in big bold letters across the front of it, and it does have a dog tag, which makes it very unique for marketing standpoint.
Yep.
But it comes out of California, and it is veteran owned. It's owned by 2 veterans that served together, and they had an idea. Pretty much like you, Steve, and I, that pretty much like you and I, after sharing a glass of whiskey late at night, they came up with this idea while they were overseas in battle, and 2 years later it was born.
Wow.
So whether this is something that they make themselves, I don't know. We've talked a lot about sourcing, and I don't know how old this is, but I will say is that it's 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. So it's a basic corn bourbon whiskey mash bill.
Do we know the age of it?
No. I do
no
not.
idea about the age.
No, I do not. Zach Hollingsworth and Scott Brown are the veterans that started this distillery together and business together. They do have another product. At the beginning we talked about maybe them having another, what are their products, right? And it's interesting because this is their flagship small batch bourbon whiskey that they have, but they also have a barrel finished gin.
All right.
So it's kind of interesting to me that they have a bourbon whiskey and a barrel finished gin, because it seems like new distilleries are doing this barrel finished gin, and I don't know what that's about.
I haven't had any of that yet.
It's definitely kind of sweeping the whiskey industry for the people that are wanting to get into whiskey and getting into bourbon, but they don't have really anything that...
We actually have, you said, what's the guy's name? Zach Hollingsworth?
Yeah.
He's actually tuning in tonight on the podcast.
Wow.
So Zach, I just saw it. So Nate, I'm going to kind of walk through this, Zach. Hang on. Nate Hale says, first bottles you say aged at least 10 months. And then we have Zach, who you just mentioned. Like I looked at him, I'm like, oh, who's that? And it sounded familiar. So Zach says, the bottle you have is between 3 and 4 years. Oh. So obviously, I don't know when Nate saw those, but it sounds like, as they were getting started up. You said how many years ago?
I believe it was 2. Well, no, it
was after 2 years. Okay,
yeah.
So they've been around, and so it sounds like they are doing that. So Zach, if you're still on and want to continue to tune in and kind of give us some. Nate says it was over a year ago. Give us some insight. We'll try to include that in the conversation. That's fantastic. We got Zach, since you're new to this, possibly. Dustin Bovey is also doing some of the typing for us, so he's our producer in the garage. So we appreciate you tuning in. We're trying it right now. This is my first time doing it, and I think Jake's as well.
First time I'm trying it, so cheers, Zach. Thank you very much for tuning in. No, it's got a pleasant nose on it, would you say?
It does.
I think it's got a lot of vanilla, but it's not too rich, but it's not too light.
The nose on it? Yeah.
It's just got a pleasant vanilla, classic bourbon notes.
Yeah.
Vanilla,
I can see
oak,
there.
and I like the smell. It's like I said, it's a very smelling this from just a glass, a regular glass or a rocks glass. It's very approachable.
Yeah.
Being at 90 proof, you don't have to worry about that. Being a high proof or anything where it's gonna knock you on your face or anything. So, but I really do like the smell. It's got an interesting.
A little citrus spice.
Yeah. Dustin said citrus spice, people. So, and I think he's right. I don't know. I wouldn't say like lemon but I don't know. Maybe small orange peel. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
If I'm dissecting it that much, but.
And so Pat Styles joining in. We're drinking Have a Shot of Freedom Whiskey Company, and Zach Hollingsworth did chime in and said early batches in 2017 were 10 months to 2 years, and now he's saying the bottle we have that I purchased today is 3 to 4 years. So it looks like
cool.
they're building that. So it'd be interesting to find out, where are they getting this? Like you said, sourcing it, or are they actually housing it somewhere? So.
Well, with that being what do you say, 10 to how many months?
It was 10 months, and then it was like 10 to 2 years, 10 months to 2 years, and now it's 3 to 4 years. So
yeah.
I assume that we're doing, as it goes on, time goes on, they're having batches of barrels that they're sitting on, either in California or elsewhere, and they are utilizing that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, in those 10 to however many months that's under a year, I'd be curious if they use like a 15-gallon barrel or what size of barrels they use.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
I don't know. I like it, and I'm not just saying that because Zach's on it, but I do like it. You know me, I would like to see it at maybe 100, 105 proof. I think it would bring out more of those the richer vanilla notes a little bit, but it does have a spice and a kick in the throat a little bit.
It does. Mm-hmm. It's got a little bit of a spice. I think just a slight amount of like heat. That kind of goes with spice sometimes, but I think it does have a little bit of that, even for being 90.
Yeah.
I think for 90 proof, I think it sips a little stronger, but it's clean. It's clean finish. You said about the mash bill, they're not trying to do anything, from what I can understand and what I'm tasting and smelling, not trying to do anything cute like some of these other newer whiskeys that are out there that we've talked about, where it's like, we're going to do it this way, and we're going to speed up the process, we're going to do these kind of barrels, we're going to do a whole new kind of mash bill or whatever. For being 75% corn, we've talked about it before, that's not like an overwhelming flavor that I'm getting. I'm not getting a whole lot of like corn lingering. It's got more to it, like you were saying, like the creaminess, the vanilla, whatever, but I think it's not like that tastes like corn water.
No, and I think that's the amount of rye that's coming out. I think rye is one of those grains that it takes very little to go a long way. Instead of how corn, corn is always going to be sweet. It's always going to bring a rich flavor out of the barrel. But that rye spice is really hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
When even at 21% rye.
And as I say it, now I'm tasting corn. I don't know. That was probably in my head. I messed it up for myself. I should have kept my mouth shut on the podcast here about that.
No, I like it. But it does, after talking and sipping through one glass, it does have a big throat essence.
Oh, for sure.
And that rye spice is coming out. But I like the vanilla. I will say it's a little bitter on the back end for me. And it loses richness on the finish, if you will.
Yeah.
It smells pleasant. It's very pleasant, approachable, great aromas.
This is awesome here, man. So Zach says he's not sure how long, and Zach, we appreciate it. And this is adding a lot of value to everyone listening out there, so this is awesome. Because this was one of the ones I've seen on our local shelves for a little while. And in the state of Ohio, it's $39.99 a bottle, so it's kind of one of those, never really heard of it. $40 is kind of a threshold for me to really like just go out and try something, especially unless it's for the podcast.
Yeah.
But if it's just like getting together, I'm like, I'm not going to get, cute with it. But I don't know how long he can stay on, but he's going to answer some questions real quick. They partnered with a buddy of his who owns Liberty Call Distillery, Navy vet right outside of Camp Pendleton. We only use full-size barrels. This was the California Craft Spirits Competition Best Bourbon and Best in Show Gold Medal in New York and Silver Medal in San Francisco.
Congratulations.
Dude, that's fantastic,
That's awesome.
man. So, Zach, thank you very much. I mean, rightfully so. For a newer bourbon out there on the market, it's a tough market to get into, and it is drinking pretty well.
Full-size barrels in 10 months.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Maybe, and I don't know, I mean, yeah, we only used full-size barrels, so maybe 10 months, maybe they were using smaller barrels in the very beginning to get that out, but you never know. He's saying they used full-size barrels. So
Well, no, yeah, if they did.
I would imagine that this has changed quite a bit since it first
Well, this
landed,
is batch 9.
so, okay.
This is batch 9.
There you go.
I mean, but it didn't, it didn't hit the shelves in Ohio not too long ago.
No, I've only seen it for about probably 2 months.
Yeah,
2 months probably.
No, I'm glad you got it, Steve. Thank you for bringing it.
Yeah.
No.
And Zach, thank you very much for being on. Hopefully you tune in either later this evening or check out the rest of the show. We love having you on through the chat, so that's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm good with it. What do you think?
I think it's good. Like I said, I think for a newer brand, I love the fact that, like I said, they didn't try to like make a name for themselves and in a sense of like doing something off the beaten path, recreating the wheel, all that. They actually put out a decent, if not a very good bourbon whiskey.
I would love to see this at.
And they're not calling it. Oh yeah, they're calling it bourbon.
At 8 years. I would love to see that.
Well, maybe as they expand, they'll do stuff like that, where they go from just a 2, and then they start putting out some age stuff, you know, and they start putting the age statement on there.
Well, it's only going to get better from here, you know. You said 3 to 4 years. Like,
one would think.
You haven't even grasped like the concept of like what this could turn into.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, new distillery, they got to get this stuff out. They got to make some money. They got to, you know, we were talking about it last night. It takes money to build a distillery and do this. There's no initial income that's coming back.
Yeah. And so that's where, like, you know, and I'm interested to look into Liberty Call Distillery. You know, that's one of the things that I want to look into as well, because, you know, it's all about partnershiping, you know, as far as that goes. And
when you're small, yeah.
So they're not even doing the distillery part of it. They're sourcing it out in a sense, or at least sourcing the actual building. That's what I was saying. We partnered with a buddy of mine who owns Liberty Call Distillery. Okay. So there's a distillery that they're utilizing. So we don't know much about that one, but
that makes sense.
Just very cool.
Yeah,
it's a good way to do it, because you're not just sourcing it out. Possibly you're actually having more influence on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not just taking batches.
And that would make sense, because I didn't read the fine print, and it doesn't say distillery. It says Have a Shot of Freedom Company.
Yeah.
So that would make wasn't paying attention, Zach. My bad.
So, and he says, Zach, you're tuning out, or you're tuning off here. Appreciate it, fellas. Hit me up if you ever need anything. Looking to put a place in Ohio in the next year or so. You'll have to swing by. Absolutely. Hopefully, it's in the Columbus area. We can actually swing by and meet you face to face. So, appreciate it.
It's awesome. Thank you.
This is awesome. So that was, again, added value. I always like that kind of stuff. It's like meeting the cigar guys, or meeting the going to the distilleries. Yeah. You know, going to a different country, like when we were having the Cuba conversations. You know, you have this new added sense of value through the identity of, you know, that experience. The fact that you mention his name when you're looking it up, we're drinking it, and he tunes in, and everyone, you know, watching, especially on Facebook Live, can see those comments. You know, I wish we could have set it up where we would have known in advance and had him tune in and set up for that, but I think this is great.
You can't make this stuff up, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, really.
Dude, smell this glass. It's empty.
Yeah.
But all spice.
Yeah.
It, like, with no liquid in the glass.
It lingers.
It's all spice. That's weird.
So I don't know if anyone out there that's tuned in live right now has had this or not, but if you have, or if you guys are seeing them on our Instagram feed, which I posted on there, and I actually tried to tag as many of the people in there, and I put it on there. They're going to be on from 7:30 to 9:30 tonight, so we're trying something different as far as that goes, just to see. Just 2 hours. We go a little over, it's fine, but I want to. If people are like seeing that post, and like, oh shit, it's only 8 8:30, like, you know, whatever, they get on.
Yeah, I get it.
So, along with that,
What's this?
the Camacho Corojo. So I actually think they go all right together. I think it brings out a little bit of spice from the Have a Shot of Freedom. I think that might be bringing some of that out, because this does have some spice to it, the Corojo.
Hold on, keep talking.
All right, you got it, buddy. The Camacho, so the history of Camacho, I can't remember if we ever done any of these, but Camacho was actually...
We've done Ecuador.
Ecuador.
Yeah.
Good thing I didn't grab that today.
Which I love that cigar.
So Camacho, we've talked about this in previous podcasts then, where they were actually acquired by, so the Aroa family, which we've had CLE stuff on here, including also Asylum stuff. So Nook, who's been on, we're going to have him on again. We want to go up to New Holland Brewery. But that's the company, the family that sold it to Camacho. Or sold it to Davidoff. So Camacho was sold and acquired by that. Are you working on something over here? I feel like you got a science
I just
experiment going on.
retrohaled.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Was that cool?
The audio listeners can't see that.
Dude, they
I
just
saw
witnessed history.
Oh.
Facebook Live did. I freaking retrohaled. That was good.
That is good. Did you hear anything I said?
Yeah.
Did you?
I was kind of doing a science experiment.
Yeah, I know.
No, I was
you were.
really,
Yeah,
trying,
I know
I was
you were.
really trying
That's
to
good.
diagnose
So-
myself into this.
Yeah.
I don't think you're using those words right. You're not a scientist. Anyways, here's the thing. So my understanding is that the Aroa family was actually still growing and blending and rolling and all the manufacturing for Davidoff initially for a certain amount of time during the non-compete. Then they kind of, since then, my understanding is they've broken off. So if Nook's on tonight in the audience, help me out there. But now what we've dealt with is that they claim this is still all original Honduran Corojo. So it's throughout. It's not only a Honduran Puro, it's true. It's all Honduran Corojo.
Yeah.
So it's all the same seed for the tobacco plant that was used for this. And that was, you know, it says on there since 1962, and you are going after that.
No, I was getting ready for the picture.
Gotcha. Hey, don't make me type all, what does he say? Don't make me type all those, I don't know. So anyways, it says since 1962. With that being said, that was actually, you know, around the time of the embargo. That's where they say the Corojo seeds were actually taken out of Cuba.
Yeah.
And that's where the Aroa family, or, you know, the family that had that initially basically were utilizing those seeds, and that's where they've grown since in Honduras. The Aroa family, they still use a lot of Corojo, the authentic Cuban seed Corojo. They claim that that is still the most traditional and original Cuban seed Corojo, because even in Cuba, they've had to, speaking of science, they've had to crossbreed it to make it last through the blue mold and everything else that they've actually experienced.
I remember you talking about that. When
Yeah.
did that happen?
2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, in the 2000s. So
Interesting. Did that affect Cuba too? Or was it just Honduras and
no, I'm
Nicaragua?
saying that's all. That's on Honduras. They did not have to deal with the blue mold scare. It was in Cuba. That's why they're saying in Honduras.
My bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to listen.
I know it's hard.
Well, I don't know. Like, you're listening, folks, and trying to learn what Steve's saying. I'm doing the same.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about cigars.
Yeah. You know quite a bit.
I know enough to be dangerous.
Sure. So this one again being 100% Corojo tobacco, they classify it as full-bodied. I'd say medium full. I think it's very balanced. Surprisingly, especially with this, the big difference here. So this, what I was getting at was the box press, according to Davidoff and according to Camacho now, all three blends with the box press, they actually added Pennsylvania broadleaf to the filler. So they have tweaked the blend to put it in the box press.
On all the box press.
All three of them. Connecticut, Ecuador, and Corojo.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I don't know. One thing I have with, I think Honduran tobacco has a really dry spice to it.
Huh. Okay.
On all of the predominantly Honduran tobacco
Yeah.
cigars that I've smoked,
Yeah.
I get a really, really dry spice to it. And just retro alien now, or I don't know. There was a really bitter spice note.
Well, so now that you're actually in the retrohale world, if you can continue to do so, you have to go back and smoke everything.
Well,
because
if
this is like the first cigar that you're able to regularly retrohale, it's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Like everything that you have tasted before, there it is, man. You got it, I think.
Maybe. I don't do it the way that you said to do it, though. It's interesting. Like, I almost have to... It's going to sound weird, but I almost have to swallow the smoke without inhaling it, and then...
Huh.
I don't know. Maybe I'm describing it wrong. I can't. Oh. Take an X-ray and then let me do it. Or something, or CAT scan.
Maybe you're over. Yeah,
I don't know. It's working. I know that. So, but no, I like the aroma of the cigar. I think it smells good.
Yeah.
I think it's got a really nice, rich aroma to it.
Yeah.
Just smelling it.
Yeah.
A little bitter at the beginning. It's opening up now, and I think it's. I'm kind of with you with the whole mix of the two, the whiskey, Freedom whiskey, the bourbon, and the Camacho. I'm kind of in the same boat with you because it's not perfect, but it's not bad either. It's just it seems like they're almost meshing together into nothing.
Which I mean, yeah, they're not really.
Which happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too much. I thought, if we did. I'm happy this isn't like we were doing like 115 proof or something like that. I think we might have an issue.
Why?
I just think it'd be too much.
Really?
I do.
Why'd you say full? Why'd you say full body? You say, what's bringing out, is it the full flavor?
No, they classify it as full strength.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. The primings, so that's part of the stuff that that the original stuff when they first rebranded and all that, they said they went with some higher primings on some of the blends. They kept them the same as far as that goes, but they actually went with higher primings. And so to actually some feedback that we've had from some listeners to kind of like bring it back a little bit more like cigars and bourbon 101 through our conversations.
Yeah.
Because we struggle with that sometimes after doing this many episodes. But the priming's on the leaf, so if you guys are watching at home, it's the priming is the level, right? So first priming's low, sixth priming's high, and they're called different things throughout. But if you take it from the same like Corojo plant, same plot, everything else, same plant, if you go up a priming, it changes. It's not like every leaf on the plant is the same. So if you go up a priming, typically you're going to get stronger, more nicotine level. There's more nutrients that are hitting those leaves, and so you're going to get stronger tobacco. So if you go up a priming, the thing with that though is that it might change the flavor a little bit, because they're not necessarily, if you go up, like Ligero is towards the top, Medio Tiempo is going to be at the very tip, which that doesn't even get produced on all plants like in a crop. So that's something that, those are the strongest leaves. Ligero is stronger, but again, with that, it brings different flavors as opposed to going down to like the middle, like Seco as they call it.
Yeah.
Third, fourth priming, typically around there.
Okay.
You're going to have maybe more flavor, more combustion, and then if you go down further, it's, again, you kind of lose a little bit of flavor typically. It's weaker tobacco, not getting the sun. But when you go up a priming, as they're claiming here, they're saying they're making it a fuller-bodied cigar than the previous blend. So I don't know. I haven't smoked, and if you smoke any of the original Corojo Camachos that have the old band on when the Aroa family owned it, I mean, they've been sitting now for, close to a decade, pretty much.
We still have some, don't we?
No.
No? Oh, we had it for a long time.
They had just a C on it.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Which one do you like better?
Which what?
Do you like the old, like the round?
So the round with the red band instead of the black band.
Yeah.
That's still the new.
So it has that extra leaf in it still?
It doesn't have the Pennsylvania broadleaf. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So which one do you like better out of the two? Do you think that makes a difference?
I think it makes a slight difference.
Good, bad?
Just different. I think it adds to the blend. It gives it a little bit a different flavor profile, but it's just very subtle.
Well, we're gonna have to do that one too.
I think there's less spice to it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Because you're adding that broadleaf in there. I don't think it gives the spice. I think that the all Corojo, you're gonna get a little bit more spice kick to it.
Do we have any of those in the shop?
Just in the Gigante size.
Okay, I might have to try that because I think that this is a really good cigar, it's just got a weird spice thing going on that I don't really care for.
Interesting.
But I mean, that's my opinion.
See, I think this one. So with this cigar, this is a blend that I understand why Camacho did what they did, because they wanted to stand out. You know, Davidoff says, "Hey, all right, we're gonna make it bold," and everything is about bold with them, with Camacho. Like we did this whole thing.
Look at
we
their
talked about it.
banding.
Yeah, and it even says it infamous since 1962. I think some of them say bold, but the issue with it is that they did all this stuff. They even had that motorcycle tour, the Torch It Up tour that we had. I don't think you guys were around during that time. This was a few years back where they had like this custom Harley. We did the whole tour. We had 100 people there.
Wow.
I don't know if you ever saw pictures of it, anyone or you guys. So we were in the bocce court next to Fido, and we did blind taste testing competition. We did arm wrestling competition. We did a cocktail mixology competition as well. All like for this event, and then they had raffle prizes, and then whoever won the grand prize, you didn't walk away with anything, but you got a chance to be one of 100 to do the raffle for the Harley.
That's cool.
Yeah, so they went around to, I think it was 100 different spots, and it was very cool. In fact, the night before us in Indianapolis, he was the guy that won that ticket, won the bike.
Wow.
So, badass bike is very cool. The thing with it is, though, I like Camacho cigars, always have. I understand the rebranding, I understand the boldness, you're getting a new market and everything like that, but smoking this cigar, smoking some of their cigars, it's very traditional, like just pure good Honduran tobacco. They're utilizing other tobaccos for the other blends, but it's almost, for me, the branding on this one alone, for me, doesn't work for me. Just because, like, I get it, I understand, it's cool bands and all that stuff, and when you do this whole, like, Harley and arm wrestling thing and that whole vibe, you know, that's sweet. They had this tricked out F-250 or whatever that they're driving around the country with a big trailer that's all painted and all that stuff. But when I'm just smoking it, it smokes like a very traditionally good cigar, good flavors for me, and I almost would prefer not having this band on it and having a more intricate and traditional band on there.
Yeah, for those that don't know, like Camacho, their band covers up at least a quarter of the cigar.
Yeah, it's bold,
pretty much, and it gets in your face. But I do like the Scorpion. I'm not sure where that came from.
Scorpion's sweet. I got a polo with that on the back.
Yeah,
like at the top, it's pretty sweet. And the boxes they come in are this high gloss black and bright red or bright yellow, depending on the blend. Just these really bold boxes. So when you see that in a walk-in humidor, it looks amazing. Like it's like a rainbow. I mean, it's just so bright in your face.
They're heavy too.
Yes,
they're not cheap
very
boxes
much so.
At all. But no, I like it. It's just it's got a weird spice note that's not hitting me right, especially with this whiskey, which I said the same thing. So maybe it's something that I ate today or whatever. But it's got a lot of peppery spice to it that I'm not really digging tonight. But
not in the mood, maybe.
Good cigar, nonetheless.
This is a good time for me to mention also while we're talking about the cigars and with this is next week we do have, so same time, you know, I think we're going to shoot for, you want to shoot for 7:30?
Yeah.
So we shoot for 7:30 for broadcast to try to catch some of the later crowd here. We've noticed as we've gone 2 hours instead of dragging on and getting drunk on the 3-hour episodes. We've lost some of that like 9 to 10 o'clock viewers, so we're hoping to get some of you guys back on here. We're still getting, you know, last week we were at 2,000 plus views, which is great. We appreciate that. But next week we do have Alec Rubin, who is Alan Rubin's son, Alec Bradley. So Alec, from Alec Bradley. A lot of people don't realize that Alec Bradley is not the guy's name. His name is Alan Rubin, and he named the company after his two sons, Alec Rubin and Bradley Rubin.
That's cool.
So we've got him, Alec's coming on next week. Ryan Ponus will be in the garage. He's saying that he'd rather just focus on Alec, so we'll see how that night goes.
Yeah.
We'll start with Alec and see if Ryan ends up on camera.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be awesome.
Because we had a good podcast with Ryan as well.
I'm excited to meet him. Just off the cuff, did we do this bottle on the podcast?
New riff? I think so.
Yes.
What did that replace?
OKI.
We did OKI, right?
We did on a Whiskey Wednesday. Anyways, But this was quick riff on the new riff. This was like an Ohio pick that the state of Ohio liquor control did with new riff.
Okay.
This is terrible.
Can I try a glass half?
Yes.
You're like, yes, please.
But
terrible compared to normal new riff? Or you do not like new riff?
Actually, yes.
Because, I mean, if it's terrible compared to new riff, then that's just, you don't agree with their pick. But new riff is always single barrel, yeah?
Now, yes.
Now it is.
They still have the original small batch, though, don't they?
No.
No, they just
All are bottled and bond single barrel.
The one we did on the podcast was a single barrel.
Right.
And whichever barrel it was an off barrel that was all right, but not fantastic.
All right.
It was like one barrel.
I'll
off.
try it here and we'll see what's going on with it.
Yeah.
Is that the Ohio pick?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
just
so
young,
it's
man.
not one that.
Yeah.
It's just young.
Yeah.
Anyways, but what do you think about our topic tonight, based on what we've been talking about so far?
Well, that bottle apparently is not going to be good until the last drop for you.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
That's a bitter taste.
So, the topic that was new riff, let's save this. Go ahead and do it.
All right. Well, you're on.
Yeah, man.
So you're hitting the button and getting into it.
Good until the last drop for me, it has a lot of different meanings. It's a great metaphor for what we are talking about when it comes to whiskeys, right? And the bottles that they get shared around the table. Last week, you guys missed it because after we stopped recording, we had several people in the garage, and when I was cleaning up the bottles, we had the Blanton's bottle, we had the Maker's special bottle, we had the Woodford special bottle that was half full, we had Pacto Navio Cuban rum bottle that was empty that we had on the table. I had a Willet bottle, didn't have much left. I mean, we were going till the last drop with good friends and good conversation. We had a lot of jokes. It was a good night. Yeah. And it's a good metaphor for a lot of different things. We were talking about it last night, Jake and I were talking about this topic and everything. And for me, it can mean situations in life, you know what I mean? You can talk about the experiences you have as far as like we had last week where you're drinking a bottle with friends and you want to go, the whole thing's good at the last drop. And you almost do that. I mean, I've seen it where you hold the bottle upside down, getting those, literally the drops falling in the glass so you don't waste anything.
Yeah. Because
it's so good. And that's something that it's about enjoying things until the end, or seeing things through is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So again, even when things aren't great, which I don't know if we want to dive into too far, but like when things are going well or you have an experience, you want to go until the end and experience it, as opposed to part of the topic would be not taking things for granted. So you're not appreciating things, as they're good, and you're basically just looking for the next bottle that you want to try. You kind of get over it. Like we see that in the bourbon world a lot. I talk about it a lot, so I'm probably fairly unpopular with some of the bourbon guys, because it's something where it's like you have a bottle and it's like you take a couple glasses, it's half full, or you just let it sit there and you're just moving on to the next thing, adding to your collection, or the new hot thing you're seeing on Facebook or online, whatever, the blogs or whatever, and you don't even appreciate the things why you like that. Or sometimes I did like this whiskey that we've been drinking on, but 6 months later it's like, no, forget that, man. I don't really care. It's just it got there's so much better stuff out there anymore. It's like maybe not. I think it's just all mental that you're just your attention span and the reason you're getting into it is for different reasons. It's not because you actually necessarily appreciate each individual bottle, each individual situation in life. You're just ready for the new experiences, and that's it. And then you just let things collect dust.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the different metaphors I'll introduce to the topic. What do you think about the topic?
Well, I'm going to kind of start in on what you just said, and then I'll go in further. But anyways, the whole concept of what you just said, Steve, is I like it.
Okay.
Where it makes perfect sense, because I look at one of those people that they're always conquering something. They always have to conquer something. Okay. Or they always have to. if they become an expert at something, it wasn't to enjoy it, it was just to learn something new because that's what feeds them, right?
Okay.
And then they move on, and then they don't appreciate what they had perfected in the first place, you know. And some people are like that, but I really like where you went with it, because I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of the people to just learn something and then forget about it and not use it, at least the concept of what I learned, not use it somewhere else in life when I see it come up again. And I think that's the biggest point for me tonight, is with our topic, good until the last drop, is using each drop as almost a stepping stone, if you will, as a metaphor to life. And if things go bad, maybe you lose a drop out of the glass, or maybe something happens and it steers you off course, and I don't know, there's a bunch of different ways that I can go with this kind of weird metaphor that we're portraying.
Good.
But it's, for me, I think my initial thought when we say good till the last drop is really just what is leading you until that final date of your death. And most people don't think of that, and it's easy for me to say because that's what I do every day now, is talk about that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think some people don't look at kind of what they want their legacy to be. They're allowing the thing that's getting them down, or me, for instance, allowing stepping stones to almost crush me without enjoying and understanding the process, and understanding that this is a stepping stone. There's a reason, because my faith, you can agree, you can disagree, or be indifferent, but like with my faith, I know that there was a reason why I chose to do this. There was a reason why I'm here, and there must be not the situation, not the podcast, but just the situation in my life, whatever it is. Yeah. There's a reason why I'm here. It's going to, if I'm having a hard time, it's shaping me, and there's a reason, or there's something that I need to learn right now. If I know 2 months down the road, I'm not going to be in the same situation anyways. Say like a job or a relationship, you may learn something out of it that you may not know, because all that you're doing is looking at how irritated you are, how miserable it's making you, and you're not appreciating the process of it shaping you into the human being that you actually do want to be. And that's the end game. That's the final drop. Or what do they say on Grown Ups when the final buzzer sounds?
So you're saying, for this metaphor, you're saying that it's good to the last drop. You're saying that the bottle is life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're taking it to the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where it's like, much like a bottle, it's not every drop that you enjoy. You may forget about it. You may take it for granted. And you're just sipping it, but you're also enjoying your surroundings with friends. Or you may be even enjoying your surroundings with yourself. Or you're not enjoying your surroundings at all, and unfortunately you're drowning yourself.
Wow.
And pain. So it's like you can either... I think it's like a two-way street with it. I don't know, does that make sense?
It makes sense. It does. I think, I'm trying to really, like, you're talking about first, the conquering, some people like want to do that and move on and move on to the next thing, or next bottle, or next goal, or next check mark, or whatever. And then you're talking about this part of the, it's good to the last drop, but sometimes it's by yourself, sometimes with other people, and sometimes you're drowning yourself with it.
If you get to that point.
If you're in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Huh.
I know, it's interesting, and first off, I don't like the concept of just going on one stepping stone at a time. Like, without appreciating what just happened. I think there's a mindset out there that we're always trying to always move forward. Like, you always have to keep fighting, keep pushing. And it's like, well, if you do that so much, you forget what you did in the past that was good or bad.
Not necessarily. I think you can keep that balance there. You can keep the focus on moving forward, doing all that stuff. All those aspects of growing and not standing still and everything like that. But I think the biggest thing for like good to the last drop metaphor is it just like a bottle or a glass of whiskey. Enjoy it. Take the time to enjoy it, because that's really what gets the most out of life. When you're in a relationship or you're having a discussion with someone, do your best. This is something that we talked about with the communication and everything else. We've had these podcasts, being actively present. That's part of it. Like you want the experience that you're having to get the most out of it up until the end. Do not rush it, if you will. It's like taking a shot of whiskey versus taking sips out of it.
Exactly.
So good until the last drop is, for me, or what I like, just almost a little bit more of a literal side of it and direct at it is that no matter what the situation is, you enjoy it all the way through. You're not just ready to, like what you're saying is a stepping stone. I'm trying to get behind the saying of stepping stone with this. It's like, it's not necessarily going to just build off. I'm saying at the very core of the experience, the very core of the glass, the very core of the bottle, just take the time to enjoy it.
I think we're seeing the exact same thing.
Maybe. I don't know about the stepping stone thing.
Well, because if you're just using something as a stepping stone, you're not appreciating it. Just like what you just said.
Okay.
About if you're not enjoying every drop.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad.
I gotcha.
So
okay.
We're both saying the perspective thing.
Okay, I got you. But I also think that you can look at this stuff when you look at the body, you look at life, and you were talking about. I want to get into what you were saying about when it's a bad situation. Yeah. So what do you mean by that? As far as like, how do you apply this type of mentality for that?
Like, what kind of, just a bad situation?
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Yeah.
Well, for instance, if it's your job and you feel like unfulfilled, I think that's a big problem that we deal with.
Yeah.
As human beings and in our society, and when there's a job that you're not enjoying or you don't feel fulfilled, it really bogs you down. And unfortunately, jobs are something that we do spend pretty much our entire life time-wise doing.
Yeah.
Other than being with our family and the actual shit that we care about.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me when I'm doing something that I feel like I'm not being fulfilled. I don't feel motivated because I don't feel happy about it, because it's not something that I enjoy, right? And,
yeah.
And I think when that happens, I don't want to keep reiterating like what we always say, but it's kind of like the hand in the face and hand going away from you, where it's diving down into a hole that you may not get out of because you keep sinking down in it. I think what happens is people get complacent. I've gotten complacent with things, and you get comfortable with being miserable when you're talking about being upset and you're talking about day to day. I think it's easier to become, for some weird reason, to become very complacent and familiar with the irritation.
It's the norm at that point. It's what you're used to, like you're saying. I mean, it's easier than change.
Yeah.
It's like staying in an abusive relationship, you know what I mean? It's something that's like, it's better than not being, like, than being alone.
Well, it's kind of like take me for instance, where I've had like 3 different jobs in the last 6, 7, 8 months.
Yeah.
And it's like, just me thinking of having another job is nerve-wracking enough, because it's like, I'm freaking starting over again. Yeah. But in my mind, I'm thinking it's like, I don't, like last night what I said, Steve, like when we were talking, this isn't really what I want to be doing. But then I'm also thinking in my head, okay, so what should I be looking out for? What am I supposed to be learning here? That's what I start asking myself.
And how do you do that? Go ahead.
Because there's a reason why I'm here. I chose it. I believe in my heart that there's a reason why I'm here, but why?
Okay.
So for the really religious people, like they can pray to God and ask Him to show them an answer, and I've done that before, but I want to do that and also try to figure it out for myself.
Yeah, because you have to do something. I mean, just praying about it or thinking about it is not going to do shit for you. Like, you have to actually do something. I mean, you can't just, I'm not dogging on religion or anything else, but you can't just sit in your bedroom at the foot of your bed and pray and go to sleep and wake up and not leave your house and just, wait for someone to call, the phone to ring and say, hey, I got a job for you that you're going to love.
I know what you're saying, but what was our instance last week? I mean, that basically happened with Ricky.
He was still going out and doing the job, and he had those connections, and he was still, like, he turned that person down. I get what you're saying, but I'm saying you still have to do, like, with your job right now, what you're doing is not only, like, trying to appreciate it, which I think is great, but you still want it, like, you don't know what you want to do, or you don't know how to get to that point. At the very least, right now, you need to do the best you can at what you're doing. Because that's really, I mean, you want to put the metaphor on it, good to the last drop. It's like, at least make the most of the situation you're in right now, because that's what's not going to, hopefully, or that'll get you out of that misery stance that you're talking about of, like, you're just in this miserable job, you're in this dead-end relationship, whatever it is. That's now your mindset. Now, if you change your mindset, then you can actually, and you try to either work towards a change. That's what I'm saying. I'm not dogging on the religion side or prayer. I'm just saying you have to do your part.
Yeah.
You can't just sit back and let someone else, whether it's God or someone else, do it for you. That doesn't work. That is called luck, in my opinion, if you just sit back and you're not doing well at what you're doing right now. And we were talking about that with the promotion last night, that kind of scenario too. Yeah. Man, I really wish I could do this job, but I'm going to just, like, be late, I'm going to be miserable, I'm not going to do a great job. But once the promotion is being offered, or there's a job offering, and then I'm going to be good, then I'm going to be like, hey, I'm well qualified for that. And you got another person that you're probably looking at as like, oh, what a suck ass, or whatever it is, like, he's always on time or early and blah, 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 blah. Who do you think they're going to fucking hire and promote? It's not just because you have the capacity that might overpower or be higher than that other person. It's the fact that you were making the most, you're working, you're being a company man, you're doing all this stuff, you're doing the best day to day, because that's what the work is. That's what enjoying, good until the last drop. That's you doing what you're doing right now very well. You're trying to appreciate it, you're trying to apply yourself, and when something comes up, if you didn't do that for your well-being as well as the company or the parties involved, then you're gonna miss out, because all you're doing is looking towards the next one and not focusing and appreciating what you have right now. Yeah. That's the way I look at that. And someone had said on here, I think it was Bobby, is tuning in from Texas. We also had someone on from Australia, which is very cool. Sometimes rushing something doesn't mean you're not enjoying it. Some people live for the rush. But then I got Jeremy on here saying, just to clarify as well, so you can talk about it if you want to. Destination addiction is the idea that success is a destination you try to get to. Which I like both of those comments.
He touched on a little bit before that too.
Yeah, he did. I saw that. I do. I see that. But it's something where it's like, if you're just moving forward to do that, like you said, the stepping stones, and you're waiting for the next thing to come, you're just waiting and waiting and waiting, you're not going to appreciate that.
I think it's just a shitty way of looking at it.
What?
Like, just looking at, like, life. Like, it's just, like, you're...
What I said, or like what that
concept is. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's just, there's no heart in it. Like, you're just feeding, literally, an addiction. There's no heart in what you're actually doing. It's just you're trying to conquer. It's like just straight monkey brain, like, let me conquer said thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're happy with it and, like, you feel fulfilled, I am not going to shit on that at all. But if you're doing that and you wake up one day and you're like, well, I have all this and I know all this, and you're still miserable, like, you're your own problem.
I think that's the balance of the rest of your life at that point. If you burn through things, and if you're burning people, that's a problem. But I mean, you can.
That's the worst part. That is the worst part.
But I'm saying, I think you can do both. I think you can become like that whole Renaissance man mentality where you kind of get good at everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're trying to expand yourself, or in business, you're trying to really work on yourself and add to your experience and your steps, or if you have like a portfolio, and as far as your businesses of businesses that you own, you started, your failures, all that stuff. I find inspiration in a lot of that stuff, and I don't think that's a problem on being good at it. But I don't think I think the way you can do that is to appreciate those steps. And like you said, I love the fact that you're talking about the lessons. So right now, I'm trying, this might be a little bit of a reach as far as the metaphors, but like you're looking at like, the job you're doing right now is not something that you necessarily want to do the rest of your life right now.
Yeah.
You don't know what the rest of your life is going to entail as far as your occupation and everything else and your fulfillment there. But same thing, it's like that bottle of New Riff, you don't like it, but what can you do with it? Can you share it with others, like the bottle? Yeah. Right? So this is, you're reassessing how you can actually get the most out of that situation, about the job, about any of that stuff. There are situations though that I will say that if you aren't enjoying it, and that's the other side of this this topic is, good until the last drop, take the time to appreciate it, take the time to actually enjoy it all the way through, see it all the way through, you know what I mean? And again, be present like we've talked about, which I like. But if there is a bottle, if there's a relationship, if there's a job, you can try to make the best of it, but make sure that you are moving on. Like, you don't necessarily have to finish the bottle. You don't need to, just work the rest of your life doing what you're doing just because you don't want change. You're supposed to, God put this in front of me, or I made these choices to get here, and now I'm going to see this all the way through. And then 20 years passes, you're trying to make the best of the situation, and you missed out on a lot of things.
Yeah. Now, what I really think, though, and I think we always assume that, like, the people that we're talking about are upset. I don't want people out there saying, like, no, I like my job. I'm happy with it. I'm complacent with what's going on. I don't, view that as a bad thing at all. I think it's a good thing if you've reached that point, like, where you're happy. The problem occurs when you're not happy and you're not going to do anything about it. You see what I'm getting? Because I don't, because I think a lot of times that, if we're saying an example, at least what I hear on other podcasts, if I hear an example of exactly what I'm doing, and maybe I'm just more, I can be influenced a little more than others, but when they say, whatever about something that I feel like I'm doing in my life, and even if I'm happy, I feel like I'm doing it wrong still.
Really?
And I think some people feel like that. Because it's like you have someone that either has a stature, they have success, there's someone, if you will, air quotes, and they're saying something that could be resembled as bad, but you like it. So, but because of their stature, you think, and maybe that's just being comfortable in your own skin. And I'm definitely not right now, so that's why.
Well, I sense that, even
when I hear that,
yeah,
it influences me to be like I second guess myself initially.
Well, I think we've dealt with that. I mean, if you look back at the early podcast, that was something that,
and it's not a bad thing. It's just that's fact.
But like when I think you were joking a bit earlier on, as far as when we first started talking about sharing this, and families wondering why you're doing it and all this stuff. It's like that was, I think, a little bit of a projection. I think that's just about the whiskey and the cigars and everything else.
Yeah.
I'm saying that I think there's a lot to this. So when you have a passion and all that stuff, you shouldn't be ashamed of it, or if you agree with something that you should feel bad. There's no reason for that.
Yeah.
A good situation, if you're enjoying it, if you've got a job that people are like, it doesn't pay you enough, doesn't do it. Dude, I'm happy. Like, this is what I like to do. I've never been happier. This is something that I want to, maybe it'll blossom into something else, or I can learn from this, and an opportunity will come up that makes sense, or there'll be a time when it doesn't fulfill me anymore.
Yeah.
That's fine, but I'm going to enjoy this, and there's nothing you can say about it that is going to steer me otherwise.
See, I'm not there yet, because I know that this what we're doing, actually, I know that some people are not comfortable with it. So I kind of I didn't mean it as a negative. It's just covering the bases. Like, that's the fact.
That's fine.
The fact of the matter. It's not a bad thing. I hope you share it. It's just, I know that this happens.
Yeah, and I say, who cares? I say that's something that you enjoy, and you share it to people. Like, you put it on your Facebook feed, you can put it on whatever. No matter what the interest is, it's like, be proud of it. If you're enjoying something and if you get value from it, then I think that's something that if people that you're sharing it with, so like family, friends, whatever, that you're linked up with, if they like you, if they're friends with you, if they're family and all that stuff, this is part of what goes into you.
Yeah.
You know, again, this is something that you enjoy, and this is why, and this is what you're getting from it, and all that stuff. Now, if you're closet drinking, if you're closet smoking, then yeah, like, you're not going to share this shit.
Right.
If you're watching this, you get more out of this part of the podcast, and you're dealing with this, and it's like, oh yeah, but there's two guys drinking and smoking. It's like, who the fuck cares? I mean, this is something that you get something from, and the people that you share it with, the reason that you're sharing it, that's why we talk about this, is that you get something from it. Hopefully, with the same metaphor, you get it all the way to the end, or as long as you can stay on listening to this, or maybe you come back. Some people say that, doing an hour podcast would be better. We're trying to, it's different. We try to get a lot out of it. The great thing about if you're listening to just the podcast, you can break it apart yourself. You can drive to work, drive home from work, break it up for a couple of days throughout the week. If you're doing Facebook Live, I know we do have people that tune in the entire time. We have people tune in, they have to go do something, tune back in, all that stuff. It's something about, that's the community of all this.
Yeah.
And I think that there's nothing to be ashamed of. Anything that you're interested in, anything that you're enjoying until the last drop, you should be, proud to share that. Otherwise, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And where is the confidence in what makes you you and what you're learning from or what you're enjoying?
Yeah, but I think it's sometimes like you're just confused. Like, and I know that you're telling them like not to be confused, which is great.
No, I'm not saying, I'm saying don't be ashamed. Like, be confident in it.
Well, yeah, but the opposite of like being confident is not being confident and confused.
I think confusion is different than being, have a low level of confidence. If you're confused, then explore it a little bit further and try to figure it out. But if you just live that way, and it's just I've been watching this podcast, I've been drinking whiskey for the last year, and I'm confused. It's like, fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, just, you might be making it more difficult than it needs to be, and that's actually what's holding you back, is because you can't let yourself enjoy it, because, like, I don't know if I should, I don't really know. And it's like, you've been doing this for a long enough time that you should that should be the sign that you actually are enjoying this and you're getting something from it.
Yeah.
As long as it's a productive part of it and it actually adds value to you and your character and your life.
Yeah.
Then there is no confusion anymore. Just fucking go with it and figure it out. That's the way I look at it. It's not like saying you can't be confused. I'm saying that's just an indicator at that point that you need to figure out, is this important to you? Are you getting something from it? Or is this just something that's wasting your time?
Yeah. No, and it's funny because I'm going to go back to like the job situation where you just said, it's trying to figure out like what you're trying to learn within the lesson of the job or where you're at in your life.
Yeah.
But so when like enough is enough, like because we can say that like, you can push and you can work hard and you can do all the right things, but it's like, when is it the right time to like hang up the hat or hang up the coat? It's like, is it until you break, or is it when you finally stop having interest in said thing?
I look at it as when you hang it up, when you instead of like pushing and doing everything you're saying, I think that it's when you have the majority of your time being negative in that arena.
Yeah.
And it's not going back to the minority. So the negative side is the majority and the positive is the minority. If that's the structure at that point, and it's not going to skew back the other way, and you're putting effort in, you're giving a little bit of time, you're not just making a knee-jerk reaction. So there is no right answer, in my opinion, on how long it takes or when the right time is. I'm saying that these are the things you need to look for. If out of 24 hours a day or out of 7 days a week, more time than not, you are seeing negatives. You're getting nothing from it. It's actually bringing you down. It's making you unhappy. Figure out why it is if you can, and make sure that you're reading it right. But I think the fact that when you do figure out that the minority of your time is the positive, that's the indicator. That's your life at that point.
Yeah.
So of your waking hours, even your sleeping hours, you're probably not sleeping well, but every hour of your life, every minute, every day, all that stuff, it's more bad than good. That is when you need to make a change.
All right. No, I like.
And that's a lot of self analysis. I think there's a lot of like self reflection. I think that's asking other people also. We had that conversation a while back, Jake, you and I, where you were experiencing it. You were in that rut or whatever you want to call it. I've been there. Dustin's been there. Like most people out there have been there.
We were talking about misconceptions.
Well, and I was like, when you're saying to someone, why do people keep asking if I'm okay? Why do people keep asking why? You just, like, what do you want me to tell you? Because that's what you're portraying. This is what you're putting out there. And if I know you, Jake, and I know the people that are out there, there's a reason for that. Because there is something wrong. You're just fucking bottling it up, or you're not even seeing it, and that should be your indication. It's like, fucking, everyone keeps asking. My family, my friends, my coworkers, like, everyone's asking me, like, what's wrong? And it's like, that's on you.
Yeah.
That's not on everyone else. They're not doing anything wrong. They're looking at it like, dude, you're not yourself, or like, you seem really upset, you seem down, you seem tired, you seem miserable. What's going on? You're like, nothing, everything's fine. I don't know why everyone keeps asking me that. It's like, when's the wake-up call going? Which time is it going to take for you to be like, oh, it's because I'm acting that way, and there is something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, but so you don't think that there is a misconception that I know we kind of talked about it like a long time ago, but you don't think that it can happen where people are asking what's wrong and nothing can be wrong? You don't think that ever happens?
I think, if it's just, but that's not going to happen day in, day out in every scenario throughout the
but
day.
you didn't say that. It's.
I'm saying when people are asking you multiple times and you say, why do people keep asking me that? If you're distracted, if you're not in the moment, and you're not giving that, you're not present with that person, and your mind's elsewhere, and they're like, dude, what's wrong? And you're like, oh, nothing. I was just thinking about something else I'm doing later. That's one thing. But when you keep saying, when it gets to the point where you say that extreme, where it's like, why do people keep asking me that?
Yeah.
Like, there's probably something wrong there.
Yeah. Well, and when you find that out, like for yourself, then you can either move on or.
Nate says resting bitch face.
Yeah.
That is a thing too.
No,
right?
it is a thing.
Maybe.
It seriously is. Yeah, I'd like to maybe switch grooves here, and we're talking about the bad, but also understanding that the bad things within the bad situations can come up of a good thing. Like, does that make sense?
Say it one more time for everyone, and myself included.
So, like, what's happening in the bad situation that is bad can sometimes come up into a good situation. And in other words, it could be something that we don't even know that's happening, but we learned, like, we now recognize the lesson that happened 3 years ago.
So learning from your experiences, but sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah, that was a really long way of me going about it, but yeah.
No, I'm trying to understand. Like, I'm not trying to correct you or say it
because that
differently.
does happen. That happens more often than not. Like, what's the old saying? Like, too soon old, too late smart.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, like there's a million different expressions, but it's the same thing. Like, how many times have you had almost like an epiphany that you should have had like 3 years ago, and you look back on what happened and you say, "Oh my God, I get it now."
I've had it several times. I think that happens a lot. It's me anymore, it seems, and I'm sure I'm going to experience what you're talking about more in more recent years, and job relationships, things like that. I'm talking about one specific relationship that was on and off for several years before the relationship I'm in now, and the job I was at before now, and I had several, and Bobby Crow was actually referring to a story there, but there's those things where at those times it was almost like I knew it was not what I wanted or what was good for me.
Yeah.
It was almost, I struggled more with, it's not the fact that like I look back now, like, oh man, I see it now. It's like, no, I fucking saw it then. It's just, I didn't know the alternative. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't pull myself out of that whole thing. So you were talking about, good to the last drop, and how I feel like if you're, the negative side of it, if you're in a situation that you you don't want to get out of because it's bad or whatever. It wasn't the fact that it wasn't I didn't want to. There was literally, I didn't know where my next move was.
Because you were familiar.
It wasn't, honestly, that is not the case. Looking back, and I felt the same way, and I think I told you that. It's not even that. It's just, that's what I felt like I needed to be doing right then, and I didn't know. I tried different things. I had looked at different jobs. I had, like during the off times of that relationship, I'd kind of like if I'd opened myself up for it, nothing felt right. So it wasn't the familiarity of it. It was just like, that's what felt right at the time, even though I knew it was wrong. And that was the way I was with the job too. Is like, I'd get these promotions after I was not being fulfilled. I was not enjoying it, and then all of a sudden things would go right.
Yeah.
And then I'd be all right for a while, and I'd feel like I'm doing well. But then enough time would pass, and it's like, no, this isn't fulfilling. This is not what you want to do. But again, there are a lot of other moving parts there, that other situations in life, other parts of your life, other aspects can actually bring down, other parts of your life, or the focused part of your life, whether it be a job, whether it be a relationship.
Yeah.
That shit feeds into each other.
When it depends on what you're trying to focus on too.
Yeah.
It's like, take for instance, it's exactly your example. So you're thinking about quitting your job. You've already done the interviews that you needed to do, and you got accepted or you were hired on.
Yeah.
And they say, well, when can you start? But
Yeah.
then you have this like new promotion that literally happens the next day, and you're going to be making more money than what you would be with the new job. I think a lot of people would just stay with what they were already familiar with, but they were miserable, but because they're making more money, that it's just okay now.
I don't think it's that easy. I think
When you know that in your heart that this is what you were really wanting to do, and you're going to make maybe $20,000 less a year, like would you? And we, Jeremy was saying it earlier. That's kind of the classic story of like American society, where it's like, is it the money? And all, it's funny because all rich people say it's not about the money. Like, it's
not all rich people.
Well, that's true. Just our friends.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be our friends though if they were just all.
I know, because
yeah.
they're down to earth people. But it's. I mean, isn't that the lesson that we're like trying to say here? Is it's not really. It's about you. It's about how you feel. It's like what for me, the big driving point for me is the fulfillment of the last drop. How is it? Is it making you feel happy? Are you happy to be doing this instead of just drinking it?
Yeah. And I think good until the last drop is not, you're focusing, and this is going off that whole thing, but it's the next step. It's not getting to the end, if you will, of the bottle. You said life earlier, or that situation. And that's what I was saying earlier, is enjoying it. So the bottle that we have from Have a Shot Freedom Whiskey Company, and again, we appreciate one of the owners, Zach, getting on here earlier, but it's like we're halfway through this. I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking about the end at this point. I'm not thinking about the next step. That's the important part of this, is that it's not just enjoying the last drop. It's, for me, and for I think everyone else, it should be, when you're halfway through it.
Yeah.
I'm pushing 40 right now, and it's kind of like, yeah, I can be like, man, I really need to like try to, if I die in my 80s, like, man, I'm halfway through this. It's like, that's great. Like, keep enjoying it.
Yeah.
And keep pouring another glass. You know what I mean? Like, don't be in a rush. Like, Bobby was saying earlier, and we talked about, like you were saying, about how people like conquer, and then they like move on to the next thing, and they're learning and they're conquering and all that stuff. If that's what drives you, but again, you have to have some sort of something in life that you are getting to the middle of the bottle, to the end of the bottle. I mean, like, but enjoy every step of the way. Enjoy what you're doing and the values, and like you keep saying, the lessons that you're learning from why you're at that situation. If it's a bad situation, but more importantly, if you're actually enjoying it, is to keep doing it. I mean, Candy was on here earlier. I don't know if you saw that comment.
No.
She was having a job that doesn't pay well, but you still love it so much. Story of my life. She has a parent that always pushes me to be more in the field that she's in, but not what she wants.
Yeah.
Ricky was saying that last week on here about, he could do the whole, like, he's, brand ambassador, he's the master blender, he's the face of CAO cigars, and yeah, he could probably, either with his own money or did investors or whatever, start his own factory, start his own brand, do all that stuff. Why? He's like, why?
Yeah.
He just wants, he's like, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Like, it's it's enough money, if you will. It's it's a substantial living. It's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
But if he starts his own company, that's even more time away from home. That's even maybe more traveling or more time, unless the family's going to move down to Nicaragua. I mean, it's like it just doesn't work like that. Like everyone thinks this business owner thing is going to be like this glorious step. Fuck that. Business owners typically, especially until they get to the point where they have a bunch of employees working for them and doing it all, they're doing everything.
Yeah.
Being a business owner, an entrepreneur, is the hardest job out there.
But if you enjoy it, if it's what you want to do.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying, like, if you enjoy what you're doing now.
Right.
I'm saying, like, if you enjoy being in the role you're in now, if you enjoy what you're doing, the people you're working for and with, and the customers or whatever your clients, whatever. If you enjoy that, don't be closed-minded to certain things. I'm saying it's okay to be in that moment, and it's okay to be in that job and to do that. You don't. Not taking the next step to this entrepreneur level, starting your own thing or getting those promotions, it's not a bad thing if you enjoy it.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know the situation where I've met something head on where at least since I've been out of school, that I truly enjoy, and I haven't already just been like, I don't want to do this. But then I tried it.
Trial and error is
right
now.
Huh?
Your trial and error is errors right now.
Yeah, so I don't really know.
That's
I've
fine.
never been in that situation, so I commend the people that are in those situations where they appreciate what they're doing, they're happy with what they're doing, and they'll continue to keep climbing the ladder because they are happy, because they do do the extra mile, go the extra mile, or because they're actually passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me. Like Steve and I were talking about, I'm so adamant about wanting to be like a master distiller. So, you guys knowing Steve, like he's like, okay, so what's the plan?
No, I said, what do you know about business and like the plan? You know what I mean? Yeah. What's the plan? Like
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So it's like, no, if it's me, I don't have the funds to go do something, of my own. So it's either try to finagle our friends into being investors, or go get bigger investors, or go work at a distillery and really learn from someone that's actually doing it, but taking a pay cut, understanding that this is what I really, really want to do.
Yeah, but we talked about that. It wasn't just the investors and the money. Say I was one of the friends in the group that just was sitting on millions or whatever, and you come to me like, hey man, I want to start this distillery. My first question is still gonna be the same thing. It's literally like, okay, well, what do you know about running a distillery? Where are you getting the barrels? Where are you getting the workers? Where are you getting, like, what property are you doing? What are you doing here? All this stuff. It's like, what do you know about looking at a P&L statement?
There's a lot of successful entrepreneurs that have never owned a business, and they're great managers. I'll say that.
I'm not saying you won't be. I'm saying, but those are the things you have to learn to be a business owner. To do these next steps, you have to educate yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like, if anyone gave you or anyone else money, it's like, no, I just really I want to start a bar because I really think I know people and I want to do that. I'm like, good luck to you, because I'm not giving you a fucking dime because you don't know anything about where you're going to put it. You don't have a business plan. Like if with that situation, if you have if you work on like what goes into a business plan and like what you need to know and like all the steps of it, then you go to those investors and be like, hey man, this is what I'm thinking and this is what I've learned so far. What's your feedback? Would you have any interest? What else do you need to see for you to be able to invest in this?
Yeah.
Those are the conversations you have, not just like, hey man, I really like I like hamburgers, so I think I'm gonna open a hamburger stand. And you're like, okay, you want me to give you money for that? Like,
right.
I'll give you money if you need to go buy hamburgers, but I'm not gonna like give you $100,000 because like, well, where are you putting it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know yet. I just really want to do this. I was gonna see if you were interested in investing. I would be interested in investing because I know your character, but I also need to see this, this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
I need to see a business plan. I need to, and that's doing the research and the education for that stuff like that.
Yeah, and I see
it's getting beyond the dream. It's getting beyond the next step.
I get what you're saying, but if you don't say anything, then it never sparks a conversation, and you lose the fire. I think people.
I'm not saying that you can talk about it, but it's again that was that whole conversation of like, again, no, I'm not going to give you the disclaimer. It's like, you can't just say a prayer to God and be like, hey, I want to own a hot dog stand. And God's going to be like, yeah, boom. You wake up one morning and you drive down the road and it says, hey, for Steve, hot dog stand. And you're like, oh my God, and my prayers were answered. No, it's like, all right, you wake up with a motivation. If God's going to give you anything, it's going to like hopefully put the relationships in your life, and it's going to be you have the resources around you, but you still have to go fucking do the work. You have to know what you're looking for. It's not just going to be given to you. We talk about that a lot, and everyone talks about it these days. It's like everyone wants something for nothing. It's like, that's not how this fucking works. Like, you have to have some sort of luck, but it's like the timing and the people in your life. But as long as you pull your weight and do the steps that you need to do as far as educating yourself, then that's when those steps that are there, you won't miss that opportunity, because this is what you want to do. And then you have those conversations, and people are like, man, you really have learned a lot, and you've done all this. And it's like, you know what? Like, if you are serious about that hot dog stand, like, I might be interested. Just show me your business plan, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
As opposed to me, again, sitting there like, man, I really want to like own a hot dog stand. You want to give me money? No. It's not that I don't want to give it to you, but it's like, what are you going to do with it? Here's $100,000. Like, what's the first dollar going to?
Yeah.
That's just the practicality of it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't really have much to say to that, to be honest.
It's fair.
Because I'm assuming that, like, you've already done that. And I think that, and what I mean by doing it is you've done your due diligence. I'm assuming that, like, I'm trying to look in the good in people and say, like, you've already done the work, like, you're passionate about it, you've talked about this enough, you've already thought about the steps, but then you won't even talk to somebody because they are worried about, like, the one finer detail that you left out.
Yeah, I guess
so. It's I'm going against, like, I'm not against what you're saying, but I'm trying to do that, but also go against it and saying, if you're not talking about it at all, and you're, like, it's my step and then your step, if you will.
That's fair.
I mean, do you agree?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fair.
Because it's so much worse when you have a dream and you're wanting to do something with your life, and you have something that you know is going to fill that void in your heart, but it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of work, and then people just shit on it because, like, you don't know anything. And then I think that should be the wake-up call and say, okay, do I actually know anything, or did they just catch me off guard because they're who they are?
Yeah.
Because that shit happens too.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of people that are afraid to actually do anything with what their dream is, because they're so afraid that they're missing a step. And it's like, you just start it.
Do something. Yeah.
Just start it. I
don't squash your own dream.
Yeah, I don't like the whole just, I don't know. I don't like the whole just do something. Just start it.
You don't like that?
No. Because it's just, well, okay, so what do I do? Like, that's the next, like, if I'm talking to you about it, like, now what do I do? Well, just like...
I just told you everything that I think. I mean, I think it's find out what goes into actually doing what you want to do. Don't just be like, oh, I really want to do this. And Jeremy Harmon says, he was saying what he thinks you're trying to say when you talk about prayers. You can pray for help, but I think you need to pray for the opportunities. Talking to people and praying to meet people to help you is more along the lines of help than just praying to own a hot dog stand. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree completely. But yeah, go ahead and start. You see all that all the time. Just start. Do something, all that stuff. That's it. I mean, don't squash your own dream. I think you're actually, in my opinion, you're kind of contradicting yourself. Is that people are going to like say something, but then they just get shit on, and then they just squash their own dreams. Like, yeah, I don't know what to do. No, that's the start, do something thing. It's go educate yourself. It's like, go visit distilleries, go visit hot dog stands, whatever it is, like whatever you think you want to do, whether you want to, And this isn't necessarily being an entrepreneur and starting a business. This is
No.
like, literally, I want to be a nurse. Okay, I'm going to go to a hospital and I'm going to put an application in. They're going to be like, what kind of training do you have? Did you go to nursing school? Nope, but I think I'd be really good at it because I'm good with people and I don't faint at blood. And they're like, you should probably go to nursing school.
Yeah.
Good note. Thank you very much for the feedback. And then you go home. You know what I mean? Like, you have to at least go do something. But you can't just go in there blindly because that's not how it works.
Right.
Does that make sense? I'm trying to give like different examples of whatever you want to do. You know, you want to be a race car driver. It's like, cool.
Well, it's not even about your occupation too. It's if it's a relationship. Like,
Yeah.
if you want something done in your relationship, you talk to the person about it.
Absolutely. Even in starting a relationship, it's like, yeah, I want a girlfriend. Okay. Where are you meeting girls? Well, I don't. I stay in my room, I play video games, and I would really like to meet a girlfriend. It's like, you know you have to go outside for that. Anymore, you have to at least go online for that.
I'm just thinking about like being in high school and middle school, and like people still do, like my friends still do say that, like, oh, I wish I had a girlfriend. Like, it's so funny to me.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not even that. It's like, all right.
I don't know. I feel like we're kind of on topic, but we kind of got off topic. I mean, this is just what the life topic is about.
Well, it is just you and me.
It is just you and me.
So,
but enjoying things to the last drop, though. I mean, I don't know. It's making the most out of life, making the most out of the bottles, making the most out of everything. That's the biggest part of that metaphor as far as the topics tonight is making the most out of life and doing something.
Yeah, but I think that we've danced around all these different scenarios, in like we're not, in my view, like I don't think we're really saying anything, because you can say, well, if you're doing you're being a conqueror and an addict to just achieving things, well, is that like good or bad? I think it's bad unless like you're happy and appreciating what happened in the past. I don't think it's a good thing if you're just like mowing on through shit.
I don't think it's.
I truly don't believe that's okay.
I think people oversimplify things when you say is it good or bad, because it doesn't have to be good or bad. It's like if you're doing that, if you're conquering things, if you're hurting people, that's if you have a moral compass that is similar to, I think, both of ours, then that's a bad thing. That's a evil. That's negative. You have no care for anyone else out there.
Yeah.
In business, if you're doing things and you're trying to expand it and trying to grow your business, grow your net worth, that's not necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. If you're doing it to provide for your family and to pursue your dreams and to do all that stuff, there are going to be people like in business that you can have a moral compass, but sometimes you do have to make those choices that it's like, hey, we're downsizing or everyone loses their job.
Right.
So instead of 5,000 people in that level, we have to lose 100 people. You feel terrible about those 100 people. If you don't, then yeah, again, moral compass is a little askew. You might need to get a new one. But it's, what is it? Are we going to hurt 5,000 people and just run this company into the ground, and then everyone at this table that's talking about this is going to be, looking for work and all that stuff? Our families are going to struggle and all that stuff. Or do we look at the collective good and say, hey, 4,900 people are going to stay employed, and that many families, we're going to affect more people by running this company that way, and we have to cut the fat. With that, you're still going to hurt people, but it's not just like churning through people.
Yeah.
You still are doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
I think that's the important part of that. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like conquering and like moving on to the next thing and all that stuff. It's not a bad thing if that's the progress you're going at. If you're doing it, I think salespeople, I dealt with salespeople a lot over the years where they're looking for the 6-figure sales job, but they don't put more than 6 months into the entry levels, and they move on another entry level, and you're looking at the resume and like, you've been with, not in your set, because you've had other reasons. It's like, why'd you leave this last company? Well, I just felt like there was better opportunity out there.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, why'd you leave the company before that? Well, I thought there was better opportunity out there. Like, why'd you leave the first company on your resume? It's like, well, I thought there was better opportunity out there. It's like, so in 6 months, you'll be leaving us because you think that there's better opportunity out there. Like, that's the part where it's like, you're not hurting anyone. It's like, no, you're trying to get that momentum, but you keep resetting yourself because you're not actually building off of it. You're starting over. You're not putting the time in to actually build and get the experience, and then have that wealth of knowledge and wealth of experience that people actually want to do business with you.
But that's what I was saying at the beginning. Like, if you're not paying attention to the things that are happening within, because that has happened with me, where it's like, no, this wasn't going well, so it came down to either me being fired or me quitting. So that wasn't a good situation. Moved on. Didn't pass a Series 7 test. Really nothing other than the fact that I didn't pass the test.
Yeah.
I moved on. I'm still not fucking happy with this. So in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, but what have I learned in the last 3 months besides the shit that makes me mad, or irritates me, or that I'm not happy with, or that's not making me fulfilled?
Yeah.
It's, what are the intricacies of what is making me better as a whole?
Yeah.
And I know I've said it enough, but again, that's where I don't like when it's just a conquering standpoint individually. I'm not talking about like big business. I'm not talking about corporate. I'm talking about the guy that like wants to go learn guitar and then like maybe wants to be a professional bowler and wants to have like a love of his life in the same sense. Like, so it's like the stuff, the intricacies of what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
You're not paying attention to, because all you're doing is feeding this monkey brain of conquering and learning something. And once you've not mastered it, but once you can play a chord, you're just on a guitar, you're just like, okay.
You have not conquered a guitar, if that's all you
I know, but my point. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
I kind of do. I'm trying to figure out exactly like where is that going? What's the other side of that coin? Because you're saying conquering. I'm looking at it as like a more practical, like being a professional like bowler. Like talking about like hobbies. Like I want to learn guitar. I want to bowl. I want to do this. It's like, but what do you mean like in the sense of the conversation? Like what's the opposite? What's the right thing to do? Because you have a problem. You brought it up several times. What is the problem that you have, with this conquering mentality? And that's the example you give. What would you rather it be?
Exactly what I said is pay attention to what is going on while you're doing those things.
While you're learning guitar, while you're bowling.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is that you're developing not just a skill. You're developing your mind, you're developing your thought process, you're developing yourself as a human being.
Okay.
It's not just a test, if you will. Like, I did this, I'm done, fine. And then you forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's something that is worth taking the time and learning, or like even if it's something that you don't care shit about, but you have to do it regardless, it's understanding the intricacies of how, like, even if there is a problem, how can this shape me to the person that I want to be? That final drop. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay. You don't think that person that you're thinking of is doing that?
No, I don't think the people that just go through life and, like Bobby said, like some people live for the rush of like learning something new. And that's great. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
But when you're doing that and not paying enough attention to how you feel when you accomplish this part of that task, and how you can maybe think of an instance that may happen with something else down the road, and how you can get out of it, or how you can fix the problem. I mean, does that make sense? Because there's been plenty of times in like
I wish there was like a specific example. It makes sense, but I'm like, I get the more like for me what I'm hearing, like by doing all that stuff, it's more about the challenge, it's more about that. But you're saying you can get more out of it if you take the time to truly appreciate what you're learning and how you're learning it.
It's
and
like
you're
the
assuming that
classic.
they're not.
It's like the classic example of sports teaching young children character.
Okay, explain that. Walk me through that.
Meaning that, like, football is one of them, but any sports, I think that because, and as a child, you're not looking at it that way. You're just playing, right?
Sure.
But it's shaping you as a person. You're interacting with people. You're developing teamwork. You understand in some aspects. Wrestling, kind of. Track, kind of. Not, but whatever.
But talk about football. That's fine.
But football, soccer, like any major team sport, you develop a camaraderie. You feel a part of something, especially as a young kid. I think that's important.
Sure.
So, but these shape you like football. You get knocked down. Do you just sit there and cry, or do you get back up?
Okay.
It's lessons in life that you're taught without even knowing it's happening.
Okay.
So I think as grown-ups, we should pay more attention to shit within either a problem or a task that we're just trying to get rid of and get done.
Yeah.
It's shaping us. And if when you're just looking forward to getting it done, I think you're losing out on a lesson that could very well make you into the person that you want to be when you have the final drop or whatever.
I keep going back to the final drop. Let's talk about that. I mean, because it's like you're saying. I get what you're saying with this. You know, as far as learning your lessons and doing all that stuff. With the examples you gave of the conquering part of it and doing these tasks, you know, at hand and everything, I'm hearing like you should at least reflect.
In a simpler term, sure.
Well, I mean, what's a more complex term? Like you're doing
what I've been saying for the last hour and a half.
But you're comparing the guitar guy, the bowling guy, the relationship guy to getting, you know, knocked down in football, and you're not even realizing that you're learning the lessons. But as grown-ups, we should listen and learn those lessons. So I'm saying, like, at least appreciate what's going on and take the time for self-reflection to realize what you're doing. So it's not simpler terms. I'm trying to like understand what you're saying, because it's a tough thing for me to and maybe I'm just not listening well or I'm not understanding it. But I'm saying like. That's that whole thing is like, but you keep going back to the last drop. It's if I could make it even simpler, and you tell me if I'm oversimplifying. It's like everything building up, and you keep going back to the last drop as far as, and I don't know if that's life or whatever it is.
It is life.
So to go to that point of, you know, last drop is life, is that every sip, every pour along the way, you took the time to learn and appreciate and slow down. As opposed to just chug the bottle.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's good. I'm trying to. I mean, this is me live trying to figure out like.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the true conversation here is like what you're trying to get at, and I think it's a great point.
Yeah, it's just it's a more intricate way of going about it. It's not good or bad, but it's like it's the way I have to process it because it's because there's so many aspects of life that we're talking about. But as soon as you understand that it's all intertwined, that's why, like, you can talk about, like, football, like, everything that I said, I think it confused you because it was like, it is all this shit because that's the way life is.
No, it's not, I wasn't.
Everything is intertwined.
No, it wasn't confusion. I was just trying to, like, put in your mind, you know, this guy over here, and I'm trying to, the way I process, I'm like, who the fuck is Jake talking about? There's got to be someone that is this guy doing not literally, but the guitar, the bowling relationship. Like there is someone that is like you've experienced that has done this, and you don't care for the way they live their life. That's the way I look at that. And then, that's what in my mind I'm like, I'm trying to not diagnose. I'm trying to like figure out like who are you talking about? Like who is this guy over here? And then why is he not appreciating? Like learning guitar. Who's to say that this guy learning his guitar is just doing it to learn guitar and he learns chord movement? Maybe he is appreciating it. That's what I'm like. That's me. Like that's how my mind was working. I was like, who's this fucking guy that doesn't? He's just gonna learn guitar to learn guitar. And Brandon's been on the show before. Like he's probably the closest person I do, but he's harmless. Like he's a very caring individual, but he's very very smart and he just knows a lot about everything. And I'm surprised he doesn't know how to play guitar because he was just bored one night and high, and he just was like, you know, I'm gonna learn how to play 3 songs, and like by the next time I see him the next weekend, he's like, hey, you want to hear a song? I'm like, I didn't know you play guitar. He's like, yeah, I figured it out on Friday. I'm like, fucking Goodwill Hunting over here. That's what I was like. And so like as I'm listening, like I'm not trying to be distracted, but that's how my mind works.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening, that I'm sure you were on one side or the other as far as how your brain works, and you half of you, if not more, are probably like, yeah, Jake, I don't know what Steve's problem is. Jake is making perfect sense.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And the other half is like saying maybe less or whatever, saying like, okay, no, now like I wanted to say that, but like that's what I like about these conversations, because you have thousands of people out there listening, and you just don't know, like when they're at this point, they're like, but when it comes down to it, I get it, and I think you do. I think it's great. I don't know. We've had some good conversation.
Yeah. What do you think of your like closing remarks standpoint? Like, has there been something that you've been holding back?
No, I haven't.
Steve and I talked about this last night, and I am terrible at holding back shit for my closing remarks, and it normally gets down to the point where, like, we'll have Steve, our guest, they say what they've been thinking the entire time, and I said my shit in the first.
That's why last week I did my closing remark, though. I said my closing remark last week first, so yeah. So looking back at all this stuff, I will say, this is the time, I'll throw it out there like I normally do when I do it last. Dustin just lit it up. Jake, that's the thing, when there's only two of us on here, like we're not even, like we're almost done, but we're still at the same point, pretty much the two of us on the Camacho.
This was a dry, very, very dry
and I didn't
combination.
Oh, okay.
Just
like
my mouth's dry, I can't, I don't have any.
Where's your water?
I drank it all, but don't worry about it, we're not done yet. So it's it's just dry. So it's like I'm kind of done with the cigar, and I don't want.
Get him a glass of water, for Christ's sake. So Tinderbox at Easton, thank you for the Camacho Corojo box press. I like this cigar. I've always liked this company, even between the acquisitions and everything that was included in this. Monte Cristo White Series. We talked about the raffle and the deals at Tinderbox at Easton and how those tie hand in hand. We have not. I'm going to smoke that next. I always liked that cigar. Ecuadorian wrapper. Yeah, the White Series, Ecuadorian wrapper. Nicaraguans in there too. What's that?
It's the first one I ever bought.
And it's very popular. I mean, it's just a very, very popular cigar. And then BS Cigar Company. So again, BS Golds are back in. And Toro. I'm happy with it. We are letting them sit a little longer. We appreciate the patience. We rejected, along with Egnor Salif Company, who grows and produces the tobacco and the cigars. We had to reject 1,000 cigars. The last shipment, we waited another 8 weeks. We got 1,000 cigars in last week. Smoking pretty well. I think they need a little bit more age.
Look at this guy, man.
So yeah, you got the producer giving the battery, the water, and everything else. So.
Dustin, can you please find a picture of this Monte Cristo White Series Robusto and tell me, yes or no, is this band farther down?
Okay.
On these?
All right. More importantly, no, you don't have to take a picture of it.
This has been bugging me.
So you know what?
All right, folks. So before we lose all the viewers on this random shit, I will say this. When it comes down to the good to last drop, I've said this already. Some of the things that I've learned over the years, and I mentioned it already, and I'm really happy that some of the people that have actually chimed in, I actually was going back and forth. Some exposure there is, when I mentioned candy, it's funny, if you're on Facebook Live, here's the comment. When we're talking about good to the last drop, she says, and if you stop liking the bottle you are on, just go grab a bottle you do like and get rid of the original. Candy is my ex-wife. So when she wrote that, I wrote back, I said, is that a dig? It was not that simple that I just left her. I mean, we went through marriage counseling for 2 years.
I think you're reaching. Because I know
I'm reading what she said.
I know, but
she says
she's not like that, right?
I don't know if she's drinking whiskey tonight either. She says, Steve Crane, not at all.
I like her.
Life is, I like her too. Life is all about changing and evolving. You have to do what makes you happy. And I think that's the the negative side. If the bottle's bad, if the relationship's bad, if the job's bad, that's oversimplifying it to this fact that it's like you just don't finish it and grab a new bottle. Life's not that easy, but if you want to find that bottle, find that job, find that relationship, you actually are to the point of getting off your ass and going and actually doing something about it. If you want a bottle of whiskey, you can sit at home and be like, man, I wish I had a bottle of whiskey, and then go pour yourself a glass of water out of the tap, or you can get up, go to the store, and start looking in the liquor aisles. So that's this whole part of it. It's like you have to actually put your work in to do it. You have to have the means to buy the bottle. Like, you can dive down that rabbit hole all you want. But with that is, if you don't like your job, if you're not happy in your relationship, if you're not happy in your living arrangement, if you're not happy with anything, you can't just walk out the door. Some people do that. I'm not saying it's impossible. But without throwing yourself out to the wolves, there are ways, unless it's an extreme situation that you need to leave, there are ways to prepare yourself to make sure that the next step is a step in the right direction. It's a growth step, and it could be in the step backwards, but it's for the greater good. It's for yourself. It's for the fact that you are trying to enjoy something. So the good to the last drop thing too, and I'll let you take it to the whole thing. The last drop is the end of your life, but I'm saying is in the middle of the bottle, as you're enjoying it, there's a self-reflection there that you are enjoying it. Be happy. Allow yourself to be happy, and allow yourself to enjoy the fact that you still have some left. You still are enjoying that, and don't rush it. I get what Bobby was saying, that was commenting earlier, and what we talked about, that you can get some value of pushing through some steps and rushing through some moments and doing all that stuff. But I mean, there are classic stories, and shit, there's shitty movies about it. Like that movie Click with Adam Sandler.
That was,
you know what I mean? No,
it was amazing.
It's not amazing.
It was amazing.
Entertaining at best, and Kate Beckinsale was hot. But other
amazing.
than that, what I'm saying
Great
is that
movie.
if you rush through those things, you will miss them. And there's songs about it. You'll miss this when it's gone type songs. All of that is good until the last drop. Follow through, be present, and actually enjoy the good moments and the good times and what you're enjoying about it. So that worst case scenario, that bottle is empty. I'm not talking about the end of your life. I'm saying you run out of time that day, you have another day. You run out. We like this bottle, a shot of freedom.
Yeah.
We can go back hopefully and be able to buy another bottle.
Yeah.
So that's those things. You learn from the good things as well, so you can hopefully reproduce those situations. You can actually replicate, and you can apply the characteristics of what you're enjoying. And in that bottle, in that situation, in that relationship, in that day, you can have that again. You can actually put your side into it, and it's not going to be a replicate. You know, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
But you can actually build off that, and you can actually enjoy what you were enjoying before. But you can't reproduce the exact same experience. You buy this bottle tomorrow. We're not going to be talking like we're talking tonight. We're not doing that. But it might bring up those memories. It might bring those feelings in your brain that in your heart and how you feel about it. That's what I was saying about this. Also, that Zach was on. You know, it's like now we have a new experience with this bottle. So you're walking down the aisle, you see that, and you're like, man, that was so cool. That guy to be on there.
Yeah.
And actually chime in and actually tune into the podcast for the first time and actually give us some feedback on that.
Well, and to dive down the whiskey aspect of it, Phil is one of the classic. Phil Davis, the bourbon monster himself.
Yeah.
He's a classic example of when Dustin too. Like we're all talking about whiskey together, and yes, we do that and talk about it for hours. We talk about a bottle that we either liked or disliked, and then Phil is always the first person to say, well, what's the story behind it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of seeing the good in the bad if there is a bad, but it's also understanding the deeper meaning of things. And
Yeah.
I think that's what I was really trying to dive down into, is understanding the deeper meaning of minuscule lessons that you may not even see.
I think it's a valid point. I
And
think it's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think it's a great thing because I know there's been a lot of times where, you know, especially through college, I was just wanting to get through college.
Yeah.
But now I look back on it and it's like, I don't see any of my friends anymore. Like,
dude,
half of them are, I mean, it's just like the best people I've ever met in my life, and I don't know if I'll ever, you know, maybe homecoming from like 10 years from now, and we all go back to football homecoming.
Did you have a moment, and you know, anyone out there too, 2 weeks or less before graduation, that you're walking to class, you're walking through campus, and you have this self-realization that was the end. Like, you're not going to be experiencing this anymore.
Well, for me,
was it football? Was it like class? I had it when I was walking through. I went to Miami University in Ohio. I was walking down there, and it was actually a quiet afternoon. I forget where I was walking, but I still remember I was walking down there, and there wasn't a whole lot of people around me, and I'm just like looking around.
Yeah.
At 21 years old, and I'm like looking up at the red brick buildings, and I'm looking at them like, this is it, man. I may come back here a handful of times, but 4 years.
Yeah.
I took this for granted.
Yeah.
You have that moment?
I didn't have the exact moment, but it's gonna be the opposite of what you said.
Let's hear it. I'd love to hear it.
Because I was kind of just like, now what?
Stepping stone, huh?
I mean, no, I didn't mean it to be that way, but
stone.
I know.
I know where it
that's
comes
why I'm preaching this shit.
I know where it comes from.
That's why I'm preaching this stuff. Because I've been there. Because now I look back on it, and it's like that's all my young life was stepping stones. Was another year of football. It gets me closer to playing college ball.
So
it gets
you
me
need
closer.
this. You need this.
I need to tell myself this shit.
Yeah.
So that's why I was so adamant about like telling you this, and because I think that people are out there that I never talk.
I know people are out there that feel that way.
That's the thing. Like, for those that don't know, half the time, the examples are of myself. Like the lessons, like the people that are doing.
That's why I was trying to figure
out
who this guy was that was
thing.
bowling and
Yeah,
playing
but
guitar.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell me later. I'm gonna broadcast that.
No, but that's what
His name was Chet.
Yeah.
There he is.
But that's what that's what I think. That's what at that time, that's all I did was kind of like.
That's being in a hurry. Bro.
Now
What's
what?
next? Like,
dude, I've always been in a hurry, and that's why now I'm kind of like that's why I'm glad I found cigars. That's why I'm glad I found whiskey, because it's like it makes me reflect. It makes me settle down, and it quiets my mind without putting me in a state of.
Slows you down.
Yeah, it allows me to appreciate the things that I think I should appreciate in my own life. Even if there are bad things that are going on, I try to dissect the situation of what's going on. Is like when I was at Max Effort, you know what I did, like after that was all done with?
Yeah.
Was I looked at, like, I tried to look back and look at every single situation that could have made me into a better person. And I did. I found those.
Self-reflection.
But it took me a while to do that.
Yeah.
Because it was 2 years, pretty much. So it's like, and even the same thing with being at Chase for only like 4 or 5 months. What did it teach me? You know, so, and I think that's when we're talking about like till the last drop, for me, the biggest point is like the bottle is my life. So I really like what Candy said, where, you know, for me, in her instance.
No, hers was grab another bottle and go after it.
But that's the way I look at jobs. Like you can make a bunch of different metaphors as to what the bottle is. Okay. But for me, it's either life or it's like a job or something. So maybe your life being that bottle, maybe you're at half the bottle. And I like what you mentioned at the beginning, and I don't know if anyone caught it, but it was like, if you're at half a bottle and you don't like it, what do you do with it? Me, I mix it with something that I know I'm going to like.
So you learn from it.
So you learn from it, but you're still using the core of what it is, and that is you.
Yeah, I like that.
So you're mixing it up, you're changing it.
Mr. Metaphor guy over here now.
I hate it.
Yeah, you have become one of us.
I hate it.
Yeah, Dustin was on the last time we did a lot of metaphors. It was like ducks on the pond or something like that.
A duck on the water.
Duck on the water.
That was
yeah.
so bad.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well though.
it was a great podcast.
And look at you now.
No, I'm not.
You mixed
I'm
that
not
bottle.
giving. I'm not giving you.
You
that
mixed
satisfaction.
that bottle and you added that duck on the water.
I'm not giving you that satisfaction.
Oh well, I can run back the tape if you want.
Yeah, but no, I hope that people out there are allowing themselves to stop, smell the roses, even in a storm. I hate myself now.
Fucking duck.
I hate myself now. Anyways.
Duck on the water.
Metaphor train.
I
I'm
know.
gonna write a song on that guitar. Who was it that played guitar while bowling? I gotta talk to him about writing us a song.
Brandon?
I don't know. I bet Eric could do it. Anyway, anyways, that's what I mean. Is this is your life? It needs to be good until the last drop, and it's kind of like, what are you going to do about it? If you're at the half bottle, if you're at a quarter bottle, even if you're 3/4 of a bottle, like, are you going to mix it with something, or are you going to mix something with it? Like, what's going on?
Add something to it. You're not gonna. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I think a lot of people. I hope everyone has gotten something from the podcast tonight. I know I have. I think Jake has. I mean, this is one of those things with these conversations, especially when it's just the two of us. This is more of a raw conversation. There's no interview side of it. There's no.
I sometimes interview you.
I can run back and say if I interviewed you too. I mean, this is what we do, but this is part of the conversation. That's what a good conversation has, and I think when you look at these life topics, we don't have all the answers. That's the difference between us and other podcasts. I'm talking about big podcasts.
Yeah.
That when they walk into it, that they have this purpose. We have a purpose. We have that goal. But the great thing about it is it's a little more raw, especially at this point.
Yeah.
Fast forward a couple years, maybe it'll be a little more pointed. We know we're pros at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But good to the last drop for me is this cigar, this bottle, this podcast, this conversation, the relationship I'm in, the job I'm at right now. It's literally enjoying it, and I questioned myself recently that am I coming across, and this I don't know how it's going to come across. Am I coming across fake because I am happier and more confident and like even in the cigar shop doing these things where it's like I'm joking around with people that I've never met, and there's some days in the past where I wasn't like that, and I'll still have those days where I'm not like that, but it's like it's just enjoying it.
Yeah.
It is good in the last drop. You talk about life, you talk about the day, you talk about anything, whatever you want. Like, I'm in a situation right now that, yes, I would love to make more money. I would love to have this gorgeous, beachfront property. I'd love to drive several cars and have no objection to anything that comes up because I don't have the money or the resources or the time. Hey, you want to go here? Yep, absolutely. No, I actually have to work on Saturdays.
Right.
But given the circumstances, everything is good.
But
so
that's what
I enjoy it. These are the things that people actually may be in that situation, but they have those other things that are bringing them down. That's why they're not happy with that. And
well, they're too critical of themselves. I'm that person. I do that shit. So, no, I don't think you're being fake. I think you're just.
No, I had that moment.
I know. I'm saying I don't think
never had that in 38 years. I've never had that moment that am I being fake? I thought I was being fake in the past at times where it was like I'm just putting a smile on and all stuff. I haven't needed to in weeks to months.
That's being unfamiliar with. You're content with one thing being wrong in your life.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Multiple things, but yes.
Yeah. So now it's weird because everything's actually going right. I
It's
mean,
never. Yeah, I
facets in your life that most people would deem important.
Yeah.
You got all that. No, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
I really am. So yeah, I don't think you're fake. I think and I think that you're a lot more calm than me. So when shit hits the fan for me, I see red right now.
Yeah, we're working on that though.
So it's just but
take your vitamin D3, people.
All right. But then, like, if a situation comes about in the shop, maybe I am fake, but I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever been mean to a customer, and I've gone through some shit in the last 8 months. So it's like, every time I'm gonna.
That's your steady there. That and Alyssa and your family.
That's giving respect to people without knowing them.
There you go.
So I would challenge people out there that listen to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's kind of all over the place, but that's the way we do things when it's just us. And I would challenge you to maybe take the back road, literally, long way home, one time, maybe stop and smell a flower, maybe just stop for a second.
Smell that pollen.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah. No, it's nice. It's like, yeah, like, just stop for a second.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Everyone, cheers.
Happy Whiskey Wednesday.
See you next week with Alec Rubin. And we're going to be smoking the Prensado. If you're tuning in this late into the podcast, 2 hours in, we're going to be smoking the Prensado, which was the 2010 Cigar of the Year for Cigar Aficionado. And the topic is going to be about, we don't have the catchphrase of it, but it'll be when you win awards, when you get accolades, when you get that credit, where do you go from there?
Ooh. I like it.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.